I'm ready to just go home and crawl in bed and not come out until it's at least 65 degrees. I'm sorry, 65 degrees outside.
Listen.
I broke out the heated jacket again.
Wind
Ridiculous.
And that's what Annie was trying to get my lap yesterday for. It was the wind.
I was talking to my mom, and it's already been like in the 80s. And
I've been talking with Delina. She's like, I'm like, whatever. Enjoy your weather down there, Georgia.
We'll touch on this later during the podcast.
All right.
So I have things to say.
I'm sure you do.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Out About Podcast. I am your favorite host, Patrick, and you all know...
BS favorite host. Have we done a poll to see who the favorite host is?
Yes.
Maybe we should do a poll.
We did a poll.
Oh, did we? Was it scientific?
It was very scientific. We had a control group.
Did J.D. Power do it?
J.D. Power did not.
Well, I don't trust a poll unless J.D. Power
We
does
had
it.
Guinness Book of World Beer do it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I don't drink beer, so I wouldn't read that book.
Well, and you all know my number 2, our producer, Jer Bear.
hey, everybody.
Sorry. I get what you're doing. You're throwing me under the bus because we have a special guest here who you think will laugh at that stuff and think it's funny.
Yes,
I don't appreciate
I have
it.
a
I just
captivating
want to go on the
audience.
record. I don't appreciate it.
Okay, noted. But is it funny?
Yeah, it is.
And of course, y'all know my co-host, one of my best friends, Senor Chili.
Hey, what's happening, y'all? Feeling a little rambunctious today.
I see that, a little feisty.
I felt fired up.
Got a little kick in the old,
I'm picking the old draws.
I don't know what that means.
don't
Okay, I
either.
just made that up.
I'm going with it, though.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm just going to go with it.
I think we
just
should.
Gonna be feisty.
Feisty.
Yeah.
Well, you got to have that inner warmth. You got to
Inner
have
warmth,
that fire.
yeah.
You got to be aggressive
Right.
because it is
Cold and
freaking
old outside.
It is.
Yeah.
It is so
Ooh,
cold outside.
Man, tired of this stuff, man.
It reminds me of,
tired of it.
if I had to use a word, I'd say winter.
Yeah, it reminds me of winter. I know y'all won't see this for a little bit, but this is May 2nd, and it's 40 stinking degrees outside. And the wind is blowing like 20 miles an hour
Yes.
all day long.
Yes.
Tired of it.
Yes.
Just tired of it.
Very.
I'm going back to Southern California
You should.
this weekend for my niece's wedding.
Yeah, well,
No, I'll be back next
Yeah.
week. When
it's all right.
warmer,
It'll be cold
hopefully.
there, so it's fine.
It will be, actually. No break. No rest for the weary.
Who needs
Yeah,
a
they just
rest?
had a huge get-together, like a camera camp in San Diego, and everybody was like, oh, it's going to be so sunny. And then all the YouTubers got there, and it was just freaking cold,
Yeah.
and it was like in the 30s and 40s. And
Yep.
I'm looking at like this weekend. It's going to be high 60s with rain during the weekend.
Nice.
I got
And
that
it
stuff
never
here.
rains.
It never rains in Southern California. Tony told us that.
That's
Well,
right.
I was just
They're
watching.
better than JD Powers.
I was just watching a YouTube video where they were talking about, for the first time ever, California is under a drought warning and a flood warning at the exact same time.
That's crazy.
They're getting so much
That's just
water
crazy.
so fast, the ground can't absorb it,
Right.
so it floods, and then it's gone, and they're back into drought.
Not to get political here, but
Oh, dear.
let's get political. California has just been, there have been people for ages that have fought to get California to build more reservoirs
Yes.
to preserve the water when they have rains like this
Yes.
than, high-speed rail. I'm not taking sides here because I don't have a dog in that fight anymore, but, makes you kind of wonder.
It does, and so they are actually building
High-speed rail.
a reserve. They're building a reserve. That's actually what the whole thing was about. They are building a reserve, and so the problem with the California reserves have always been the
Ecological.
that's the one,
Yeah.
impact on the environment, and the ecologist, that's not right.
Ecologist. you
Ecologist.
worked out.
They are showing up and saying, oh, you can't dam this creek like you've been doing, or this river, because the salmon can't swim up to spawn. And if the
Right.
salmon can't spawn, then all we're going to ever have is farmed salmon.
Sure.
And that's somehow cruel, I guess. I don't eat salmon,
Well-
so for me it's fine. But I understand it's not good for the environment. So what they're doing now is they actually found kind of southeast of Sacramento. That's a city, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. there's a huge valley there that they found they can dam up in 2 places and a couple little small dams, but 2 big dams. And it's no creeks, no rivers, no impact to the environment that way. I mean, you'll lose some land, obviously, because of it. So there'll be those impacts. There's a couple towns that have to be relocated, but like really small, like less than 100 people. Those, and they'll be bought, like, they'll have their land purchased from them. They won't just be like, you're out of here.
At government rates.
At government rates, which I don't know what that'll be, because I've had some people that have gotten eminent domain,
Right.
and the value they got for their money or for their land is like, can I get eminent domain? You know,
I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. But other people, you do hear about them getting the shaft. So hopefully it'll be good rates.
Hopefully.
And but it's 100% snowmelt and rainwater, so it's not. There's no fish impact or anything like that. So. Right now, they've got part of it funded. They're trying to get the rest of it funded so that they can start construction, hopefully, by end of 2024.
Well, for those Californians out there, I hope it works out. And just a couple years ago, well, this is probably before we left Oregon, so 4 years ago almost now, they had actually passed legislation to undam rivers in Oregon.
Yes.
So that the salmon could swim upstream and spawn, and we could have natural salmon again.
Well,
but again, that's a small part of the whole thing,
absolutely.
right? But it's a start.
Yeah. Well, in Oregon, you have a bunch of, from what I understand, there's a bunch of dams and reservoirs that maybe aren't necessarily needed. They are not providing to the grid adequately, or the water reserve's not as necessary.
Sure.
Like they kind of overdid it, and so pulling a lot of those out, because they overdid it like in the 30s and 40s, so a lot of that stuff's very inefficient,
right?
And it's not done nearly with the skill and scientific
as we have today,
as they are today.
Yeah,
even Hoover Dam, you know, with Meade being down so low, they redid all the generators at Hoover Dam with low flow propellers and stuff. That way, they can make more electricity with the same amount of water. So you do see people trying to adapt, and a lot of those up. In Oregon, they did. In Washington, too, they had such a bad environment cost that it's worth it. Just go ahead and tear them down and let land. And it's cool. Have you seen some of them where they have done that and how they actually make it, like, they tear it down? I mean, it's not like they, like, partially do it. And no. It is, you can't tell there was a dam ever there. It is unbelievable.
And return it to its natural habitat, natural state. And the habitats can take time to rebuild.
Yes, but they plant trees all along the side. Yeah, they go way over.
And these things don't happen overnight. They take time, certainly. They take time. So California is going to be taking a little time to get that reservoir in place. So it'll be a little time, but good deal.
Yeah, so I thought it was really just fascinating. Just drought and
flood
warning. It's just unbelievable.
All at the same time. Insanity.
It is insane. So before we talk any more about the weekend, because I know you're all dying to hear what we've done in our lives, I think we should take the time to introduce our special guest, our exciting news to share.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I'm going to let you take it because it's your +1.
Oh, it's my +1. I'm responsible for her now.
We prefer to.
You brought her. You take care of it.
Thank you. I prefer to call her your better half.
She is definitely my better half.
But I'll let you take it.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
No, we can't do that anymore.
Them, theys, those, and these.
I think something more. Just what else can we use instead of that? That's why I say, hey everyone.
I got an idea.
I know what you're about to say too, don't I?
I got an idea. Hey y'all.
No.
Sitting to my right here is certainly my better half. Her given name by her lovely mother and father is Melissa Cheshire. We call her Buttermilk.
This is Buttermilk?
This is Buttermilk. This is the elusive, never before seen on camera, except for on Luke Shire Expediting Adventures, Buttermilk.
You have been saying Buttermilk for 14 episodes.
I have.
That's like...
And now they get to see who Buttermilk is.
Has it really been 14?
And I gotta say, I just put it out there because I have caught some flack from people who know me and know Buttermilk, and they're like, I can't believe she allows you to call her Buttermilk. So I just want to put it out there for the record, Jerry, since you've been giving me so much crap for this. She gave herself the nickname Buttermilk. It wasn't me. She gave it to herself. She was happy to share the origins of it with everyone else. So it's not me that gave her the name or just me that picked it up and carried it along with it. She gave herself the nickname Buttermilk.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. Now, Melissa,
Yes.
is this accurate? And just blink once if it is not. Okay, well, all right. Well, okay,
Yeah,
audience, you'll have to
right.
watch the YouTube if you want to know the truth.
Exactly.
Huh,
Exactly.
Interesting. That's all I'm saying.
So,
Interesting. We'll talk
welcome.
after the show.
Thank you.
She's been here for all the episodes, just never on camera. We want to give her a nice, warm Outer Belt podcast. Welcome to my better half, my partner, my wife,
What?
Melissa Cheshire.
What? Yeah, right.
Welcome, Melissa, to the show.
Welcome to the show.
I'll go with
Welcome.
partner. Thank you. I'll go with partner,
Partner.
not wife.
I feel like you've been here literally since the beginning. Like, I feel like
Thank
you've
you.
been.
Give me that back.
He's
then.
trying to take my ring off my finger,
am,
people. The ring that he asked me to marry him with. We just haven't sealed the deal. So I have been here since the very beginning. I sit off in the shadows with Miss Annie and
Directly to my left.
yeah, I give you pep talks when they're needed and constructive criticism, I hope. And I think you two are really funny. Well, you three. I think you all three are really funny. So
Well, we appreciate it. It's always nice having someone in the background going, "Would you please start already?" It
really?
really does encourage us. It's like, we're going on 3 hours. It's like, all right, we'll get around to it at some point.
And she's
some
kind
of
of
us
our
like to go home.
she's kind of our unofficial researcher too,
She is.
feeding us information when we're not
Sometimes.
quite
Yes.
sure.
Uh, maybe on the lives, Eric and I do our best.
Oh, that's right.
So-
They've met you on the lives.
They
have met you on
They
the
haven't
lives.
really
Yeah.
met you. They've just
Right.
kind of seen
Seen.
you.
And then again, if you've watched our videos, Vince and I, at Luke Shire Expediting Adventures, you've seen my face. But for those of you that haven't, Buttermilk's my given name. That's what I kind of gave myself, and it stems back to driving over the road. So there's a little
Yeah.
Buttermilk Parkway in Kentucky, Ohio border. I don't know what highway is that? Interstate.
75, 71.
I've never been on it, but I want to. One day I'll be on it.
I thought buttermilk was because that's what you put in your coffee for creamer.
No, no.
I thought Buttermilk
It was
put that
usually
from?
my
You put in
part
your
of the
cornbread.
drive was to drive that section. I don't know how it always fell on my part, right? I mean, if you drive for Hyfield or any other whatever team driving, it seems like you always have that section of driving that is yours, right?
Yes.
And this section always seemed to be mine. And somehow Buttermilk Parkway, actually it's Buttermilk Pequee. If you have a GPS, you know what I'm talking about. It is, what GPS system says that?
Was it the Garmin that did that?
The first one.
The Rem McNally.
Yes. PQWY
No,
is
PKWY.
Oh, sorry, PKWY, pronounced Pequee. So when Garmin or Ram McNally would talk to you, exit at Buttermilk Pequee. I don't know what a Pequee is. But anyways, I always thought Buttermilk Parkway just was funny. It always made me giggle. Usually I was going through there at midnight 30, 1 o'clock. And it just made me giggle. And I had a whole long story. And I was sharing with Vince one day during a daytime drive where we weren't being pressured to get to somewhere. And I made a funny joke about it. And so from that point forward, I've been Buttermilk, and that's fine. It
Buttermilk
works.
stock or Butterbean or Butterbiscuit
Or Butterball or
yeah,
whatever
all
y'all
kinds of
decide to
stuff.
call me.
Well,
We gotta follow
butterball's that's a little on the
That
nose.
is. We only use that on Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
It's funny you said that about the Ram McNally because me and Don, every time we used to go to Colorado,
Yeah.
it would always say Colorado.
So do you really call it that now when you joke about it?
We always
Isn't
say,
it funny
"We're
how you
going
do
to
that?
Colorado.
Yeah. Virginia and West Virginia, it really cracked me up that she said them or pronounced them very differently. And I won't go into details, but how she pronounced Virginia always made me giggle. But she didn't pronounce the same word the same way. But yeah, so Pequee. If you ever need to go on a parkway, it was Pequee.
Yeah.
That's hysterical. Well, that's fascinating. You're talking about we each have our own little areas that we tend to drive and see. I remember when we started driving out on the 80 outside of Chicago, kind of between Iowa 80 and Chicago. When you're coming into Chicago, on the right-hand side, or which would be south of the interstate, there were two windmills. And at night, they're lit up like purple and green or something.
Okay. Yeah.
and they're kind of distinct because they're not in a wind farm. They're just
Sure.
Just
sitting
out
there on the side of the interstate. I never saw them.
Yeah, me neither.
The whole time I was driving, I hardly ever saw them. And then all of a sudden, I drove by there one day, and it was a path we drove quite a bit. And I drove by there, and I'm like, "Oh, that's so cool," And I told Eric about it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I see it all the time."
Yeah,
I'm like,
nothing new.
yeah, I'm like, I had no idea.
Right.
Right.
It's also kind of a little different, but it reminds me of driving through Nebraska. I drove through Nebraska in some pretty thick fog once,
Ooh.
and on the 80, and the arch thing that goes over the interstate. That's
It's like a rest
museum.
area thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
Deep fog driving through there, and then all of a sudden it was like that thing was just there.
Yeah.
It scared the absolute
I
dog
believe
crap
it.
out of me. I was terrified.
bet.
I was like,
believe
oh,
Nebraska and I don't have a good relationship.
I like Nebraska.
No.
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 We got history with Nebraska we
Yeah.
won't talk about today.
All
No.
right. Well,
Yeah.
welcome to the show, Melissa. We're so glad you're
Thank
here
you.
joining us.
Thank
But one of the things we want to talk about was how did you get involved with Hyfield, and what you're now a staff member. I don't think that's a secret. Most people know you're on staff with us
At this point,
at
yes.
this point. So what do you do, and how did you get here?
Okay. I guess it started back in 2019 is how I got here. Vincent was driving a tractor trailer on a dedicated route on I-5 in the Oregon, California, Washington corridor. And I'd go out with him on weekends when I was able to do so. And I just couldn't figure out how to get on the truck. So he showed me some videos about straight trucks. I think they was the Crafty Truckers and the Trucking Couple. And I thought about it. I was in the hospital field at the time doing reception work. And I didn't really like my job. I mean, I cared about my patients and all of that, but it just wasn't the place that I felt the happiest, I guess, at the time. So I pulled the trigger on getting my CDL, and I said, let's do this thing called expediting. I said that in March. Yeah, March or April of 2019. And we kind of fast-tracked, and by July of 2019, we were actually meeting Patrick in Medina at the Panther Logistics office and their parking lot there, and got keys to our truck. And 3 years later, the rest is kind of history. You can check us out on Luke Shire Expediting Adventures, kind of talks about it all. We drove truck. So we saw everything out there, and last year you and Eric approached Vincent and I for roles within staff, and after a long, hard conversation, if that's what we really wanted to do, because we weren't expecting to come off the road, we said yes.
6 minutes, by the way. That was 6
Yeah,
minutes
it
of
was 6 minutes conversation. I remember you pulling out your phone and starting the stopwatch app and saying, okay, let's see how long this takes.
Well, it was the fact that you both said, yeah, and then looked at each other and you're like, we'll get back with you.
It definitely wasn't something was expected. Again, Vince and I thought we were going to run the warranties out and literally the tires off the truck that we were in. And, when that end of time came, that might have been the end of our careers as well. I think is kind of what we both had assumed. But by no means did we have a time limit on how long we were going to be out here. So y'all asked us to consider staff, and we said yes. So at any rate, I came on as, we both came on as, I guess, operations.
Well, can I ask you a
Operation
question?
something.
Can I cut in?
Yeah.
So that point of Eric and I talking to y'all and saying, okay, hey, do y'all want to come on board? We have these two positions. Because, right, it's weird when you bring a couple off the road.
Sure.
Because if you only have one position, what's the other person going to do? It gets
Sure.
sticky.
Right.
And in your case, we actually had two positions we needed done. So when we are like, all right, we have these two positions, would y'all be interested in doing it? And you're like, yes, we would. That immediately, there's got to be a couple, there's got to be, I know it was for Eric and I when we got off the road, that moment of joy of getting off the road, and I'm going to have a home. I'm going to have a wake up every morning knowing where I'm at. There were some things like all the things that we kind of take for Vantage now or whatever,
Yeah.
you kind of go through that like, oh, this will be cool because of all these things. But so there's got to be a little bit of joy there, and then immediately that for Eric and I there was a lot of remorse or sadness
Sure.
because
Yeah. Oh,
we
yeah.
love being on the road.
Oh yeah.
We loved it so much. I told a lot of people we went out and bought a 40-foot motorhome so we'd go drive the country still in a 40-foot truck.
Yeah.
And you quickly find out when you're running a business that's not really
Realistic.
Feasible,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had I love we got the RV, had some wonderful trips with my family, and especially in hindsight, knowing that my mom was going to pass a couple years later, I think that was great that was able to happen the way it did.
Sure.
That whole like traveling and seeing things in the country and everything, that itch is hard to scratch when you live at home. So you had to. For us, there was that great deal of sadness about it, and then we were not ready to quit when we got off the road. We were not ready. We were not done. We enjoyed it. The business got just too big, so we couldn't do it anymore.
Sure.
And then so there's got to be that like sadness for the road, joy that you're about to have a new home life and a new a way of living.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing or third part that goes along with that is we need a home.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in the middle of
Yeah.
one of the worst times to buy a house or rent a house
Mm-hmm.
in one of the most fast-growing, low housing cities there are.
Yeah.
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 So, what was that emotional roller coaster like? It had to be something, right?
I may disclose too much, and Jerry may need to cut some of this, but we were camping at the time. We were camping with you and Eric, so good times, great times. You asked us on day one, so we had this to think about the whole weekend that we were having a good time. So it was a lot. It was very heavy. I asked Vince, where are we going to live? What are we going to do? Do you want to buy? Do you want to rent? Are we ready to buy? Do you want to buy in Columbus? I mean, it is a whole host of emotions. Are you even ready to come off the truck? Once we made our decision, I know y'all left early from the campground, a day early. And I told Vince, I'm like, I want to stay one more night. Like, it's our last night of truly camping in the truck. So how bittersweet is that, that we're going to drive back to Columbus and park the truck. So we did take that advantage of staying in the campground just a little longer. But, I think with Vince and I have always set our mind to doing something, even coming out here. It was always, let's make a plan, let's make it happen, and then we execute it. So we did that. We said yes to the job, and we're like, okay, we're going to find a house, whether that's owning or renting. And we quickly found that owning wasn't the way to go due to the market.
Yeah.
And we found a lovely landlord, and we've been renting for the last year, and it sounds like we're going to up our lease. Is that what we're doing?
As far as I know, that's what
We're
we told our
sticking around
landlords we
another
had to do.
year.
We're doing another
We
year with
like
our
it that
lease.
much. We made it. We
Yeah.
survived the
I
winter.
may end up driving a school bus next year with my class B, but we're renewing our lease.
It was stressful. There was a lot of emotions. Maybe in the back of my mind, I thought we were going to settle back in Oregon, where my children are. And I think in any relationship, the woman with children maybe drives everything a little more. And I'm not going to lie about that. But, are there grandchildren pending? Aren't there grandchildren? What's the future of the children? But I got their approval. I got their blessing. And they're like, go for it, Mom. And I think it's a great thing. So here we are and doing great things with Hyfield because, we believe in what y'all are doing.
If I could add my 2 cents here.
Sure.
What are you? You
Wow,
wanted to
you're
move back
both-
to?
You're both allowing
You
me
wanted to move back to
permission
Los
do it.
Angeles. I knew it.
Yeah, that's the last place I want to be. It was very emotional for all the reasons that you talked about, Patrick. We had talked before about our desire to work for Hyfield in the future on staff. We both thought it wasn't going to be for a couple of years before that opportunity came about. So when it came about so quickly, or not so quickly, but so suddenly for us, we didn't know at that time we had run our last load. We had no
true.
idea at that point that we had run our last load. So making the drive from Kentucky to Columbus was bittersweet. It truly was.
But not knowing, right? It was an after the effect because we didn't know.
When we made the drive from the campground to Columbus.
Oh, to Columbus, yes. Yes,
right?
yes. We reflected on the last
After
load
making
we
the
had
offer,
made. Correct.
right?
I'm sorry. I
So it
misunderstood
was
what you said.
bittersweet,
Yep.
knowing that we were done with that life, because at that point we'd made the decision to come on board.
Sure.
We talked about, not traveling and seeing things, and we talked about what that looks like from now, knowing, and part of what made that transition a little easier was knowing that there's so much around the Columbus area that we hadn't explored yet,
Yeah.
and that there is to explore, and being able to make a day trip somewhere, or Friday afternoon we leave and we're back on Sunday evening, and we're able to spend Friday evening, Saturday, most of Sunday somewhere within a couple hours drive. Knowing that we could do those types of things made it easier for us as well. It was a big adjustment for us because we didn't have, we hadn't mentally prepared ourselves for that
Right.
transition. So
Right.
it was a challenge, but it's been, I think for both of us, it's been worth it.
I think the most bittersweet thing was knowing that the weekend before we had with Patrick and Eric, we spent with the Ferriers. They're on the FedEx side, and we spent it down in Nashville, and I think those are the kind of things that I miss. I enjoyed the weekend out in Etna where we got to hang out with people, but I do think that's what I miss most, is that spontaneity of maybe you run into someone that is Hyfield and you make plans and you go do something. So that was a little bittersweet. So, but overall, I've thoroughly enjoyed living in Columbus, and I love what Columbus has to offer. And y'all know we hang out, and I'm, as you call your social media person, and find all those group things to go do, or the caves to find, or whatever it might be. But finding things to do here in Columbus isn't hard for me to do. So, and then I drag y'all along with me.
Well,
So
that's definitely been a fun thing for me. I mean, we've lived here for almost 5 years now.
yeah,
And this year makes 5. Actually, this month makes 5 years.
oh, congratulations!
Thank you. And going around this past year, or not even a year that you've been with us,
Yeah,
almost a year, we have seen more of the area and everything around it than we have in the previous 4 years. I mean, it's
Oh.
just like,
thank you.
it's really been fun, and I knew this was a great city. That's why I moved here in
It's
the first place.
beautiful.
It's a lot of fun. If you like the big city life, they have it. If you like rural life, they have it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My place here is pretty rural, and then I'm 3 or 4 minutes away from a
Yeah.
quaint city.
yeah, yeah.
With skyscrapers and
Yep.
JW Marriott hotels and like all that stuff is so close.
Sure.
And yet, when you're on my back porch in the middle of summer, you're in.
You're in the
You're
very
in the
rural
woods.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I love that Columbus has all that to offer. So I'm a big fan of the city.
I do. I love it here.
Um,
I tell my kids all the time, I'm like, I really need you to come out here and see why I love Columbus, why we settled here, why we said yes. And, well, they're going to be here in July, so I'm pretty excited about that. I get to show them around.
it's exciting.
I know.
I won't be able to hang out with them the whole time, but I will. Sounds like I get to hang out with them on the last day, so that's exciting.
Yeah, so I love it here. It's been great. So you were asking me what my job is.
Yes.
Am I ready to move on to that?
You are.
Okay.
I told you behind the scenes. She's like, all right, we're
Let's
gonna
go.
move.
Keep
Come
it
on,
moving,
let's
keep
go.
it
Let's go.
moving.
Or stall.
Can't we do an hour-long show in 15 minutes, guys?
I don't
What's the
understand
problem?
why. Yes, we'll
Speaking
just.
of- is
Jerry
it time
just
for
adds
airplane
stuff.
of the
Yes,
day?
add
Exactly.
content.
Is it time for airplane of the day? I mean, like, how fast are we moving this along?
We're getting there. We're getting there. So you came on board, and I had a very specific job for you because I wasn't happy with what we were getting done,
Yes.
and that was, of course,
Flipping burritos. I'm
flipping
kidding.
burritos. You rolled the burritos.
Yeah, you flip burgers. You
That
roll
was what we were
burritos.
doing.
I
We
don't
were
know.
flipping
We were flipping
burritos.
That was the
and
problem.
we should have been rolling
Yeah,
them.
that was the problem.
You had me cleaning the truck, so I was cleaning.
You don't
the
have to say it like that.
Right?
I
Oh my
mean,
goodness!
You could say it a
I
better
was
way.
cleaning the truck.
watch your arm. You could block the camera from me.
Sorry.
It's kind of a big
That was
deal in case you didn't
exciting.
know.
No, you.
I was cleaning the truck's sleeper, the back wall, all the way to the windshield. So that's what I was doing, making sure that they were prepped and ready to go, and at the level that Hyfield needs them to be, wants them
deserves
to
them to
be,
be.
deserves them to be for a new team who's going to start. So that was my job. So I was doing that up until about 3 weeks ago. I just started my 3rd week. And you asked me if I wanted to move into more of an office setting and assist Delina with social media marketing and contractor sourcing. And I said yes.
But again, you took time to think about it.
I did. I took like 3
made,
days.
Yes, I was
I
going to
made
say,
you sweat
you
it.
sweat it out for 3 days.
I
I'm
did.
like, oh gosh.
You
I'd
think
already-
you had
Well,
it
and I had
bad.
asked you a lot of questions too, and I just
You
wanted
did.
to be sure it was a good fit for both of us, and then also
Absolutely.
Hyfield as well.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I'm still spending as needed time, Vincent,
As needed time.
because it hasn't been weekly, but as
Yet.
needed time in the yard, doing final Melissa approval on the third-party cleaning that you've had. So I think the other day I spent maybe 3 hours and I touched 2 trucks.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that those are leaving the yard the way that they need to be leaving.
How does that compare to what you were spending on a truck before, time-wise?
Ooh. It's a lot less. It's a lot
Yeah.
less. Yeah.
So you kind of have a hybrid situation, right?
I do currently have a hybrid situation.
It's kind of like 80,
so
80 or 85%.
I'd almost even go
office.
90-10.
Okay, 90% recruiting, and then 10% is just, I'm going to say, the final touches on a truck
It is the final
before a team
touches.
gets in there, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it is.
I want to make sure those trucks are going out and
Yeah,
those teams are really
Well, and especially
moving into
now,
something good.
you're talking to teams, you're asking them to come over, and then you're also doing the last quick run through
Right.
of making sure that truck is ready
Putting the chocolate on
on
the
the-
pillow.
on the cleaning side, right? Like
Right.
Vince has already gone through, Vince and Melissa, or Mel, they've already gone through the repair stage,
Right.
and they've already gotten all of that done. You got the initial clean done.
Right.
And then you're just coming in, like you said, put the chocolate on the pillow,
That's
making sure
it.
the bed sheets are just fitted ever so slightly, which we don't have bed sheets on our trucks.
Nor do
but
we have
don't-
chocolate.
Those are both metaphors.
we should consider that like an 80s mint. I know a place you can get some 80s mints.
Really?
You know, that might work real well in the winter. In the summer, though, we'd have to go
They're
back in
gonna
and clean the
Well, that's
clean
the-
the bed sheets
We
because
can
they
leave
have
it in the
chocolate all
fridge.
over
No,
them.
that's
We'll leave it
your
in the
test.
fridge.
If the APU works, the
Right,
AC's
there you
on,
go.
then
We're good. Then we're solid. Yeah.
So yes, it's been quite a transition, and Delina's been a delight to work with. Jerry actually assists me as well when I have those kind of IT questions, and I'm learning. So it's been fun.
Well,
It's been fun.
Well, I certainly do appreciate you making the change. I appreciated when you came on board.
Thank you.
I'm glad that y'all found a suitable way to replace you on the cleaning side. Partially, not all the way, because
completely.
you still handled the last finishing touches.
And we're still
but-
working with them to fine tune what services
They're
provide
almost
to us,
there.
too. So,
They're almost there.
Yeah.
Good.
So,
That's encouraging.
yeah.
And to see that and see you come over to the recruiting side, you already were doing a lot of advocating for our company.
I was.
You already were reaching out to a lot of teams and talking to them. So to put you in that more official role of being able to reach out and speak on behalf of us as opposed to about us, now you're
Right.
talking about for us. It just seemed like the natural step,
Well,
right?
thank you.
And then to see you come over, and what I love is that you and Delina are not, how do I put, not the same person, so to speak.
Right.
You both approach things differently,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's great because there are the one thing you struggle with recruiting a lot of times is being singularly focused on one fishing hole, so to speak.
Sure.
And it's sometimes real easy just to go like, well, there's nothing producing here, and so we're just not going to have anything. Whereas the real trick is to have a lot of lines
Right.
out in the ocean and be able to have lots of different sources. But that's hard for one person to be able to cover a bunch of different things. We all kind of have our wheelhouses we work in.
Right.
And so having you approach things differently, it's great. What Delina is doing is working, and it's great.
Yep.
And what you're doing is we're starting to see the fruit from it as well. And it's completely different. And I think it's great. It's just a more a new way to reach more people, right?
Sure.
Kind of like what we're doing with this podcast.
Sure.
This was not something we were doing prior.
Right.
So having this now, not only is it a way, some people are going to hear it, and this could be a recruiting function, but really, we're hoping this is mostly just a time for our current teams to hear from us and to entertain them for a little bit, but also have them hear from us, get to know us a little better, get to understand our culture, where we're coming from, that sort of thing. So it's just new ways of doing something that, and I love that y'all aren't the same minded. Y'all do have different ways of doing things. I think it's great. I just absolutely love it, and I think you make a great fit within that department. And of course, Jerry supporting y'all too. We always appreciate that.
Yeah.
I don't think we give Jerry enough approval and enough
Yes, you
enough
do.
accolades.
No, I think we
Yes,
don't
you do.
either. I think that we beat Jerry up so much on this podcast that we don't give him the credit for the stuff that he's done.
Well,
and
the
he
only
continues to do.
reason we do that is because he just won't talk.
He just won't. He won't. Jerry, you speak up. We'll stop beating up on you.
That's right.
We're just being bullies. That's what we just admitted. We're just being bullies to you, Jerry. So
Well, don't let them do that to
But
you.
we do it out of love.
we do it out of
Yeah.
love. We
Lots
do
of
love you.
love.
I
Lots
We
mean-
of love.
appreciate you.
Well, Melissa, we hearing all that's pretty awesome, and I would like to. We're about to move into our favorite section of the.
No. You can't just go into that without giving me my chance to say my part about how I feel about her in this new role.
All right,
'Cause
fair.
I've got some issues with it that I need to address.
Okay, Mr. Chili, we're giving you 3 minutes.
I'll do it in
You've
2.
got 2 minutes
Look.
and 48 seconds now.
You know, so it's caused me to adjust my schedule because I now need to start getting up earlier to fix my own lunch, which is, I'm not saying it's her job. I'm not saying it's her job, but she did before. What I found out today, just today, I found out that cause she's working from home now and I'm working in the yard.
Yes.
I found out today that she's making herself gourmet lunches at home and sending me with boiled chicken, right?
What?
So I recognize that I will adjust that and start making my own lunches. You know, I'm not saying it's her responsibility.
Listen.
I'll make my own lunches now because I'm going off to work with my lunchbox,
Yes.
and either I have a cold lunch, which I don't mind, or I'm heating up in one of the trucks that we've cleaned and then
Yeah.
re-cleaning that truck, right?
Yeah.
Well, she's at home making herself fresh gourmet lunch. She had some kind of poached fish today for lunch.
What?
And I had boiled chicken.
Well,
What's up with that?
you know,
What's up with that?
it is a little. It's something. I will say it's something.
It's something.
But I also have to say I understand the plight that you're going through. I understand your struggle
Right.
because when I went from middle school to high school,
And that's how I feel, Patrick.
Mom said, "That's it."
I feel like a middle schooler right now. I get sent to work or to school, if you want to call it that, with boiled chicken and a sliced up wedged orange and have a nice day, go on to your thing. And then she sends me pictures of this beautiful lunch she's prepared for herself at home.
You know how you fix that, don't you?
I fixed my own lunch.
No,
I said
there's
that right.
another
I
way.
fixed my own
There's another
lunch.
way you can fix that.
How's that?
There's a Raising Cane's down the street.
There is.
There's an app.
There's
There's lots of good stuff
there's
down
the
the
Rusty
street.
Bucket.
But I'm trying.
There's a Waffle House.
I want to remain.
No, you can be compliant at those places.
No, I want to remain frugal and not spend $15 a day on lunch.
Spend $15 a day on lunch for a week, and all of a sudden you'll start getting manicotti. All right.
No. I'll start getting my butt whooped for spending so much money on lunch. I mean,
You go to swipe the card, and they're like, "This has been
let's-
canceled."
Yeah, let's be real here. I can make this complaint on this microphone right here, right now, because
Yes.
she's not going to whoop my tail on camera, as far as I know.
And you're just hoping she'll forget.
I'm hoping that by the time we get home, she'll have forgotten. Had I made this complaint to her at home, just between the two of us, I would not be able to record the next couple of weeks, as I would be, pretty well bruised up. Now, that was a joke for everyone. That was a joke. We do not condone, we do not participate in domestic violence of any sort. That was a joke. I will get it chewing out when I get home, but there will be no physical abuse. She laughs.
Just emotional. Jerry,
Just
we're going to
emotional.
have a conversation about this later
Yeah,
on.
really.
Remind me, I got to get the staff together. Anyways,
Just don't go home.
This so
Like,
cool.
no.
Just on a side note, I love you very much, and none of that is true. And none of that is true.
I love you very much, too.
Yes. And I did not have poached fish.
She
And
did.
I
She was
did
like,
not
she was
send
like,
you
it was,
pictures.
it was broiled. Thank you.
It was actually it was pan fried. It was leftovers from last night.
And what's
She
funny
did
is,
not send me
yeah,
pictures.
but the scallops, that
did-
was over the top.
She did brag about it though on a text. I can show you the text. When I can't show you that
I
text.
did do that.
She
yes.
did brag about it,
It was
though. So
tasty.
no, I'm actually very happy. This is the first time, and she didn't mention this, the first time in almost 4 years that we haven't worked side by side. You know, the 3 years on the truck, the almost a year that we spent in the yard together. So, and it's the first time in 3 years. Well, before when we got off the truck, it was the first time in 3 years we lived in the house together, and not just on the truck, and we weren't working opposite shifts. So. It was. We knew it would be a test of our relationship,
Oh,
Yeah.
and it hasn't caused any issues. We've actually been able to roll right into it. So it's been a challenge to adjust a little bit, but nothing that we weren't able to control or
This
handle.
is the
So it's been
longest
really
we've
good.
lived in a stick-built home
It
together
is.
in our
It
relationship.
truly is.
Wow.
If that tells you anything, we lived longer on the semi truck than in the actual stick-built home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did. Yeah, we're going on. Well, we just passed 5 years in a relationship in May,
Yeah.
March, and you know we've been off the truck now for not quite 10 months. So.
Oh, yeah. Almost 11.
Anyway, that's what I wanted to add to the conversation. So thank you for giving me the
Sorry.
pulpit to do that, and I'm sure it'll probably all get cut and make me look stupid.
Nah.
No,
No, Jerry
that
wouldn't do
stayed in there. So, Melissa,
Yeah.
we always have a segment of our show. We actually usually open with it, but we
Oh.
went
Okay.
totally left on this. And we would love you to share with us, and then we'll go around the room. So
Okay.
everybody be ready.
Okay.
How
Mm-hmm.
was your weekend? Oh, that throws you.
Yeah, right.
You're totally fine with the history
It
of
was-
the world,
it
but
was
like,
only 2 days ago.
she
It
was
was
like,
just
"What
2
was
days
the
ago.
weekend? What
Yeah.
did we do?"
What did we do Saturday? We didn't even go grocery shopping this weekend because we were so ahead of the game. What did we do Saturday?
Etna.
We did Etna. Yes. We went out to Etna, Ohio, the east side of the 270 Circle,
Around what city?
Columbus, Ohio.
That's the one.
There you go.
Out to the Loves there. And as you all like to say, we threw down tailgating, barbecue,
Am I
grill,
the- am I
whatever. No, I like calling it a throwdown.
Am I the
get
only
it.
one calling it a throwdown?
No,
Does
No, no,
anybody
no,
else
I
do
like
that?
it.
She
I
calls
just
it
want to
that
make
too.
sure people know what a throwdown is. Throwdown, tailgating, barbecue, gathering of friends, picnic.
Okay, but Jerry, do you know what a throwdown is?
Absolutely.
Prior to me, that's a
Absolutely.
yeah.
Is that a southern thing?
Is it?
No,
I thought it was a countrywide thing,
I
but
think no. This is a country.
it's country.
Country.
It's not a-
Country.
It's not
Country.
a LA city thing.
No.
So
They had to
we-
throw up, but not a throw down.
So we went out to Etna. You drove us. You and Eric drove us out there, and we met up with I don't know. Was there 25 people out there?
It was a lot.
was
Hyfield teams. So both on the Panther and FedEx side, and Matt and Jamie Brookhouse. They
Hosted.
I guess you don't. They did host. I don't think you call it barbecue when you're on a Traeger. What do you call it? You just Traeger?
You can
Is
call
it
it
barbecue?
Yeah, it was pulled pork.
I mean,
It's
we can go
barbecue.
into what barbecue
No,
is.
no,
It's
no.
barbecue.
So
Yeah.
they barbecued pulled
Grilled
pork
chicken.
and grilled chicken. I saw them throw some shrimp on for I think a specific team, but they had some
Yes.
sides that were delicious, and then just the networking with the people that were there was just really good. I got one lady's name, and I sent her a text a few days later about where to park in Fort Walton, Florida. Vince and I've been there twice.
Yes.
And we knew of a place where you could go and they had truck parking. It was just fun to network, and it was fun to eat some. It was great to eat good food and fun to meet the people that were there. So it was good. It was a good time. Good music. It was great. And then Sunday, I decided to make a major post on social media on Facebook and post an ad for Hyfield. And I knew that would take up my day, but it was a rainy day. We weren't going out. I was just doing laundry. I was in for the day. And so I spent my day responding to people inquiring about coming and working for Hyfield. So I was trying to see and test if Sunday's a better day than the middle of the week.
Well, you know that thing with the shrimp that you were talking about, they grilled. So
Yes.
the one thing I love is if anybody, any of the Hyfield family is listening to this and you run into Matt and Jamie over the weekend and they are doing a throwdown, then they take allergies and food
Sensitivities.
yes into
Dietary needs.
dietary needs, yes. And so that's what the shrimp was about. It was for a certain person who had
Nice.
food-related issues. So, not
I thought it was
issues. Boy, that sounds
amazing.
terrible, doesn't it? Anyways,
No, she
but
even
it-
catered to Vince and I.
yes,
Yeah, she did.
So they take that into account. If you say like, hey, they're gonna be somewhere, they encourage it. Please let them know that you're gonna be there, and also let them know if you do have a food allergy or issue or what have you, or if you're a vegetarian or if you don't eat red meat or whatever it may be.
Sure.
Because they certainly do accommodate for that,
Yeah.
and they do a
Yeah.
really good job. I know I was out there in New Jersey a few weeks ago, and then I was out there at Etna as well, and both times they had different people with different food allergies
Right.
they cater to. So they are they're really great hosts. They
Oh my
They
understand
gosh,
really
that,
they're
are.
and
They
amazing.
really are great hosts.
they help out with that.
Amazing.
And
They're so
Their
gracious,
setup.
with their time,
Yes.
and they're so gracious, and they don't expect anything for it other than just come out and have a good time.
it is it's a lot of fun. I love those events.
And they're posting, I think, on the private Facebook pages where they're going to be ahead of time. Correct?
With
They,
Hyfield.
yes, they are right now. We are talking about, in case you're like curious, if you're not already in the Hyfield family and you're curious about what we're doing, they will be here in a few weeks. They'll start posting publicly where they're going to be.
Oh, great!
So that if you are like, hey, I live near that and I would like to talk to someone from Hyfield, you could actually just buzz out and
Great.
hang out with
Oh, that's
us and that kind of thing, and,
amazing.
and talk with them. Maybe climb inside one of the trucks,
Yeah.
see what it's all about.
Make
that
sure
kind
and
of
give
thing.
a heads up first where you come out, so we can
I
know
encourage
how many
it.
folks to cook for.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, very limited supplies on a truck, so they do typically cook for just about
Just
what's
enough
planned for.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't
And-
see a
and-
lot of leftovers.
No, there wasn't. And the cool thing is when there are leftovers, which there wasn't a lot, but when they are,
Yeah.
they actually have sandwich bags or Ziploc bags.
I
Yeah.
took
in there,
chicken home.
and
Yeah.
they encourage people to take it home, so you
Mhm.
actually get some leftovers for the next couple of days in your truck. It's really neat.
Yeah.
And some weekends they do, dinner Friday, breakfast Sunday or Monday. What Saturday? What day comes after Friday?
Saturday generally.
Saturday, and then they'll do breakfast or brunch on Saturday, and then they'll do dinner on Saturday. So you can actually get a few meals.
Yeah.
Now,
Sure.
now sometimes they're not. This past weekend, they were only able to get in on Saturday, and then Friday they weren't in town, and then on Sunday they had to go pick a load up. So it was only one day, but
Right.
Sure.
so sometimes you can actually get a few meals off them, and it's a really good thing. And to be clear, Hyfield's paying for the food, so you don't have to worry like, oh, I don't want to take money out of Matt and Jamie's pocket.
Sure.
We're covering the food for it. So they just do a wonderful job hosting. And if you'd like to hang out with us again in a couple weeks or a few weeks, we're going to get that ironed out, and we'll start publicizing it on Facebook. So
Lots of fun.
yeah, I think it's a great opportunity to meet people who are doing the actual job. It's not
Absolutely.
just talking to a recruiter. No offense, Melissa, but it's and you've done the job.
Contractor sourcing.
Yeah, thank you. But it is a opportunity to talk to people like you're doing it right now.
Right.
Right.
How's this past week
Yeah.
been? How's this past month been?
Sure.
Some of our people have been with other fleets, so it's a good chance for you to talk to them about that. And it's
Well, I'm
it's,
excited to maybe talk with potential people, and maybe if Matt and Jamie are in the area, suggest them going there.
yeah, I think it's gonna be really cool.
Yeah.
We're trying to think of a name. We're talking about like maybe the Hyfield Road Show, or I think the Throwdown with Hyfield's fun, but I don't know that people are gonna understand. They're gonna be like, it's a boxing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like-
what is this story?
Is this
now?
WWF
Are we throwing
or
hands or what are we doing?
the Worldwide Wrestling Federation features the Hyfield Throwdown. So
Sunday.
That's funny. Oh, that's funny.
it is.
Well, how exciting. How exciting.
Yes. Well, Vince, I think we already heard about your weekend, but how was your weekend?
My weekend was fabulous. Saturday, I had a eye doctor appointment Saturday morning, and then we went out to Etna and had a great time with those folks, as you heard from Buttermilk.
Yes.
Sunday was just a lazy day for me. I didn't post any Hyfield ads on Facebook. So Sunday was a very lazy day for me, where I got to sit and watch Melissa scroll through Facebook, which is kind of like any other lazy Sunday. Sit and watch her scroll through Facebook. No, it was.
It is strange
did
now.
laundry.
It is strange
is.
now. She can say like, "Well, it's my job."
It's my job. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was just a nice, lazy, restful Sunday. We did laundry Sunday, like she said. Just restful. So yeah, good weekend.
Very cool.
Good
I
weekend.
think this is when the bad weather started.
Yes.
And like nobody wanted to go out. Like it's a weekend, but you're like, oh,
Yeah.
look at the weather.
Don't wanna
and
deal
then,
with that
then you
stuff.
look at the weather and you're like, look at the weather for the whole week.
Well, Sunday was the weather on Sunday was kind of decent.
Yeah, it
During
was
the
in the
day,
morning. Yeah.
And we even had like some nice sunshine on the back porch and everything. It was like, oh, let's go out there and hang out. We walked out there in a few minutes. We were like,
Yeah,
and
it's
we're
done.
good.
We're done.
That's enough. Mr. I'm sorry, I pronounced your name wrong earlier. Mr. Jerome Barrow, how was your weekend?
It was good. It was pretty much the same as theirs. I was out there Saturday in Etna and got to meet a lot of nice people that I've talked to and not got to meet face to face. So put in a face with people's names and things. It was good. Good food. Matt and Jamie, again, I just echo your responses. Amazing. But yeah, Sunday was a lazy day. I did editing and got together a commercial for Hyfield. It's on YouTube, running now. Hope you see it.
Ooh.
I thought it looked really good too.
It turned out good. I used some old footage that we had and just threw some stuff together. A big shout out to Truck and Travel. They were gracious enough to share some drone footage with me of some of our trucks. So
Very cool.
Awesome.
thank you very much. And yeah, other than that, it was just a lazy weekend.
Speaking of editing, I'm sorry, I just want to throw this in there real quick. Jerry edited the last Luke Shire expediting video on. He did it on Sunday, and we posted on Sunday. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
You're more
It
than welcome.
came out really great. I feel so bad about the stuff I edited before, but thank you for doing that. I really appreciate it.
I love doing it.
I gotta say, I loved that comedic backdrop that you orchestrated and had flow through. I thought that was a nice touch. That just goes to show you right there that Jer Bear is the top-notch producer we all thought he was.
He really is. He truly.
he
I wasn't
plans-
expecting it. I didn't know it happened until I saw it on the video.
Yeah, he plans for the unexpected
Right.
and doesn't expect the planned.
Exactly.
I'm not sure if that's a compliment.
I don't think it
But
is,
anyways.
but okay. All right.
Hey, but
Patrick.
it was a really great commercial.
I have a question for you, Patrick.
Go forth.
How was your weekend?
Where do I start? Well, Saturday.
Start with Saturday.
It was pretty good. I ended up. What did we do Saturday? Oh, got to fire up the old truck. So those of you who don't know, I own a 1992 Ford F-150. It's pink and it's a flare
Beautiful
side.
truck. Beautiful truck.
Yeah, it's a fun little truck. It's almost a showpiece, but I believe in keeping it a work truck, so it's not quite a showpiece.
I've had to drive it a couple times, and I've told you before, I'm more nervous driving that than any of your other vehicles.
I believe it.
That thing, it's a beautiful truck. It drives great.
It does.
I'm not nervous driving it because I think it's going to break down or have a problem.
Yeah.
I just don't want to get any
Scratches
the
or
scratch
dents
or even just the fingerprint. It's a beautiful truck. It's a really nice truck.
Well, we took it out to Menards and bought a bunch of dirt and stuff. We're trying to get some projects around the flower beds and such prepped. I don't understand. It's not my thing, but I knew we
You
needed
support
dirt.
it.
I knew we needed dirt, and I have a truck, so
There
there
you
we
go.
are.
Yeah.
So drove out there, got the dirt, and then came back and unloaded everything and got a nice good sweat going on. You know that feeling of like good sweat. There's bad sweat, but there's also that good sweat.
Sure.
This was a good sweat, and then went upstairs, got everything showered up and everything, and headed out to pick y'all up. And then we went to Edna. We had to stop. It was kind of fun. Got to go to IKEA. On the way out to Edna,
That's right, we did.
had to drop Melissa off for an appointment she had, and she was real quick in there, and that was interesting. So it was funny because we dropped Eric off. He ran inside of IKEA, and you and I sat in the Jeep and waited on him. And what did you call it, Melissa? Awkward silence?
No, I think I
No,
called
he
it.
Oh, you
called
did. Oh,
it
you
I
called
said
it
that we
silence.
sat there in awkward silence.
It
yeah.
was the funniest thing. I was thinking about that while we were sitting there. That we didn't say a word to each
No.
other
The whole time?
the whole time.
the whole time.
And I was on my phone scrolling through Facebook and looking at some other stuff and catching on some emails. And you were doing the same, or
Yeah.
playing your game or doing something. I don't know what you were doing in the back. We didn't talk.
No.
And then,
We didn't talk about it.
and then headed back out to got Eric, and then the awkward silence was over, and then headed out to Edna, and Edna's a good little haul.
It is.
Probably about 45 minutes from here.
Yeah.
So got out there, and then just again had so much fun. We talked about it enough.
time.
Kind of beat a dead horse, but it was a lot of fun. I met, I think 3 or 4 of the teams. No, 3 of the teams are out there. I've never met. One of the teams I haven't seen in probably almost 2 years.
Wow.
So it was good catching up with them as well. So yeah, I mean those kind of events are a lot of fun. And the thing with what we do, because it is independently dispatched, so you dispatch your own freight and you kind of do your own thing out there. It's easy not to run into someone for a long time.
Oh, sure.
And so it was really nice to be able to catch up and all that. And then of course the food was just the icing on the cake, right?
Definitely.
So it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Oh, we had a team that is retired from trucking, and they were there as well. So it was great to be able to hang out with them and kind of a nice send off for them. They are done with their over the road, but they, I mean, it was literally tears from both of us. It was a really great time. I love that kind of situation. I wish they could still drive, but I get it. People come out here. Some people want to drive forever. Some people want to own their own truck. Some people want to meet a financial goal, and once they've met that goal, they're going back home. And whatever that plan is for someone, we support that plan.
Sure. Absolutely.
So it's,
absolutely.
And they're great people. Oh, they're so good people. They were actually things that they had on their truck that they don't need anymore. They were actually giving them out to people that were there, not selling them, just giving them away.
Oh, that's cool.
They were.
I got in their truck for the first time yesterday afternoon.
Yes.
Clean as could be.
Yeah.
I was so grateful. I actually need to send them a little message. It was just yeah. Buttermilk would have been proud. It was very clean.
It was a good one.
We appreciated the condition that truck came back in. We
Absolutely.
really did. Yeah.
No, that's
and they've been out there 3 years.
Yes.
Just
about.
They've been in this truck. They've been in for about 6 months now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But overall, they've been out here.
Yeah, they've been out here.
We met them on day 1, actually, that they started. So that was pretty cool to be there at the beginning and be there at the ending.
Yeah.
Yes.
That I never.
And it's a team that I've hung out with
absolutely
throughout their history with us. So it was a great send off, and I wish them, the best going forward.
Sure.
And it's
we all do.
It's that little secret thing inside where you're like, I'm so glad you're moving on, but I secretly want you to come back.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So no, and then Sunday I'm gonna reiterate what y'all said. I didn't get out of my pajamas the whole day at all.
I don't think
happen.
I did either.
I stayed in my pajamas. Yeah, you did. Cause you came over.
I was gonna say the only reason I did was
that
come
was,
over here.
but that wasn't until like 4 o'clock.
Yeah, y'all got over here pretty late. Y'all got here right before the storm, and you stayed throughout the storm. And then once the storm was over, y'all left.
We did.
And that was nice being able to just hang out with y'all and with no pretense, nothing. I mean, just literally.
Yep.
I think y'all said, "Can we come over and grab a couple things for the team that was showing up the next day?" And we're like, "Sure." And then, we just all get along, so we end up hanging out for a couple hours.
Yep.
We get along.
And then we do.
Oh, okay.
The 3 of us and the 3 of you, but not the 2 of us apparently.
It was a very nice Sunday afternoon.
Can I get a calculator? That hurt my brain. An abacus, maybe. So no, that would hanging out with y'all was fun, and then it was dinner, and then watched a couple movies. I went to not a couple movies, a couple episodes, and then went to bed. It was. I did laundry. That was the night.
We all did laundry.
Sunday was a day that I did so little that getting the laundry done felt pretty good.
Yeah.
Like it.
And it was kind of forced because we had been around a bonfire on Saturday, so you had to get the smoke out of your stuff.
And I did the dumb thing. I did not take a shower. So the next day I go and like all my sheets smell like smoke.
Yeah.
When I actually finally did go take a shower, I put the shampoo in my hair and and then immediately I just smelled all that smoke and I was like, oh my gosh, oh no.
I tainted the sheet.
I ruined everything. But yeah, you're right. That we did. Yeah, that was that was a lot of fun. But yeah, that was basically it for me. I mean, it was pretty slow. I talked to Kelly finally Sunday night.
Okay, good.
It was good hanging out with her and being able to talk with her finally. They've been in Israel for the past 10 days, 12 days, something like that. Oh, a day longer than they expected. Their plane They were supposed to fly back Saturday, but they didn't fly back until Sunday because their flight got canceled. The plane that was supposed to pick them up never left Atlanta because of mechanical issues.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
So it got completely canceled. They put them on the next day's flight, and she told me all about all the issues with it. Was some kind of special. Like she said, at the end of the day, we got home safely.
Right.
The plane was having mechanical issues. They didn't fly it over here and just hope for the best. Like
Right.
aviation, safety, it all worked.
Yep.
They were able to stay at the hotel they were already at. Like a lot of that stuff worked out in their favor. So it is what it is. Whenever you do that international travel,
Sure.
you have to be a little bit fluid for when things happen. And so thankfully everything ended up being fine, and she got back not as comfortably as she wanted, but still got
Still
back.
got home.
And safely.
did she have to
And-
ride with the cargo?
No, but I think so.
Got it.
When you have a flight cancel
Right.
and they put you on the next flight, they just wherever the seats are available.
Get in where you fit in.
Get it exactly. I've had this happen where I was like flying first class, and then my flight got canceled. They put me on the very next flight, and now I'm at the very back of the plane in economy. Like, you don't get your money back. It just is you get the next flight. So,
Wow.
she I think her parents, like, one person was on one row and the other person was 9 rows away from them. Like things like they were just all
For
dotted.
a very long row. For a long trip, I mean.
Yeah, 11 or 11 and a half hours.
Oh,
something like
that
that.
you're not sitting by your person.
Yes.
No.
So it was. So she did say, that was aggravating, but they got back. They're safe. That everything worked out there.
Sure.
She did say that catering was pretty good on the plane, which makes me happy because Delta's, who I'm obviously a big fanboy of, catering, like that's some place that they really have been leaning into it lately and talking about how good their food is. Delta, out of like their major hubs, so Atlanta, Detroit, Minneapolis, Los Angeles, or JFK, they're now using local chefs to do the menus
Okay.
for those flights departing that area,
That's
the
cool.
long flights departing that area.
Right.
Not getting anything from Columbus to Atlanta, but you know what I mean, like your long flights. So when you fly out of Atlanta, there's like a short rib, which Delta's had short ribs on their flights for years, but now it's like cooked and seasoned the way the local Atlanta chef, she cooks them. And I saw that and I'm like, oh, this is a marketing gimmick. I tried it.
Oh,
Nope.
Oh, yeah. It was
It's
tasty.
really good.
It was tasty.
Did you have it on that flight
I had
too?
it
Down
on that
in
flight too,
Mexico? Yeah.
Yep.
It was,
did.
they definitely kicked it up quite a bit. And she was saying that, as a matter of fact, it was actually pretty good food on that flight. So,
Are we going to get something from Minneapolis to California?
No, because we're in Comfort Plus.
you I don't know. That's a weird one. Is it long enough to get a meal or no?
It's like a 4-hour flight, 4.5-hour flight.
They
I
have
think.
like everything's broken down by miles, and if it's so long,
I
then you
was
do get it
teasing.
or something. I don't know.
We'll make
They a lot of times too. What Delta will do if they don't give you food on a long flight, they'll do a premium snack, so it's not just Biscoff. Then you'll have some
Okay,
options
yeah.
for some other stuff.
Oh,
but,
nice.
nice.
I was teasing, by the way.
But it's I do love flying Delta. I love flying Delta so much. The plane of the week. We need music for that, by the way. The plane of the
You
week.
got the buttons.
As I don't have a.
Pick something.
I don't think that's going to work, is it? So the plane of the week is a Delta Airlines Airbus A320. Now, you may remember not too long ago I had an Airbus A321 on here from Delta, and this is a Delta A320. So it is basically the same airplane, just a little shorter.
You're talking a digit? One number?
One number, 321 to 320. This just holds less passengers. It's a little shorter, but the wings, the engines, everything else is identical. The reason I brought this up is tomorrow I am actually flying to where am I going? Houston,
Dallas.
Texas.
Oh, Houston.
Thank you.
Dallas.
Am I going to Dallas? Because my ticket's booked for Houston.
Oh, well, I heard Dallas when we had the conversation, but again, you don't talk to me anymore, so I guess it's Houston.
I was about to say Houston because I was on the phone when you booked it.
So tomorrow I am flying to Texas, and one leg of it is on an Airbus A320. And so I thought, hey, it'd be fun to pull this airplane out. I don't have any particular trip for this one. I've flown this plane lots, maybe 15, 20 times. So this will just be like...
Is it a frequent flyer?
It is. I tell you what's really cool about this airplane that I love is they're old. All of Delta's A320s, They actually came from Northwest Airlines when they bought them in the
Right.
merger.
Yeah.
And all of them are like built in the early 90s. So they actually had to renovate them. As you can imagine, they would have to out of a
Sure.
30-year-old airplane.
Sure.
So the renovations, they didn't have Airbus do. They had someone else do it, which is cool because you get things you wouldn't normally see in airplanes. So, and I'll send Jerry a picture of this to put on the website, or on the Facebook page rather, and Instagram. But all of their like, above your head where the air vents are and the little light, your reading
Yeah.
light, and
Yeah.
your
Yep.
little call button for the flight attendant, they're in these like little pods with an LED thing around them, and they kind of stick down, and they're just super unique.
Interesting.
It's nothing like typically it's all just one big flat surface
Right.
and you just
Sure.
have them all there.
Yeah.
These actually come down these little pods and they're kind of cute, and I'm pretty sure they're the only ones ever is on these planes.
So they have little designer accents.
Yeah, they have little designer accents that
Nice.
make it like really nice. It's like, okay, now
Nice.
I'm on a really old plane, but they
knew?
really did it up
Yeah.
quite nice. And of course, all the seating's comfortable and everything. It's a Delta flight, so it's going to be nice. But yeah, I don't know how much longer they can keep these planes. They're very old, but they're
you said 30 years.
yeah, but they're comfortable.
Until they can get new ones, supply chain issues and all.
Well, they are buying. Yeah, I know, but they are buying a bunch of A321s, and they are buying a bunch of 737 Maxes now. They're the last major airline in America to order them. So they will be, I'm sure, over the next probably 5 to 10 years, replacing these things. But yeah, it is crazy to think that these airplanes can be 40 years old. You think about a 40-year-old car.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had a 1991
Ooh.
Oldsmobile Forenza,
What's a, I don't know what a friend
Yeah.
is.
It doesn't
Okay.
matter. Just
Um,
Let's go with it.
1941 of any car.
Not
Okay.
91, 91.
Oh, 91.
Sorry,
You didn't say
or
91.
or a 1991
Yeah.
of any car.
That's
yeah.
a few years before
I mean, you get nervous
graduated.
driving the 92 Ford.
I do. Well,
Would you want
not because of the
would
Ford.
you,
because
but would you want to
it's-
fly in it across
no.
America?
No, thank you. I'll pass.
That was going to be my question. Do you ever get nervous?
No.
You personally? I mean, I don't think about it. I just get on a plane and go. So I don't.
Well, I think
I don't ever get on and go. Oh, it's
I
40
think if
years
I-
old.
I think if
just
our
don't go that
vehicles were
deep.
maintained like these airplanes are maintained,
Correct.
it'd be a different story.
Yes.
Right.
Oh,
But I who maintains their vehicles like Patrick does. Who else maintains their vehicles like they
Sure.
maintain?
I don't
these
maintain
40-year-old
my
airplanes?
vehicles like
the Navy does.
like they do,
Close
but
enough.
they're also flying
They're also
are
flying.
using
They're using
engines.
equipment that costs millions and millions
Sure,
of
sure.
dollars.
Sure.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
never think about how old they are.
Well-
I'll think of that Friday when I get on. That
There you go.
the plane I'm on could be as old as me.
So we're flying a 737-800 on Friday,
That's a nice oldie.
and also a A220-300 on Friday.
A220 300.
Yeah, that's what it says.
I love those airplanes. That's brand
Yeah.
new.
Oh, brand new?
Like
I won't have to
less
worry.
than 5 years.
Ooh, I won't have to
Okay.
worry
Yeah.
again.
It's
And-
only got 1,400
No
miles on
worry.
it.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about the engines quitting working like they were in the
Oh,
other-
nice.
That's
Good.
just,
Good.
no. You know why you have two engines?
Just in case one falls off.
Redundancy.
There you go.
They no, I don't worry about it because a couple reasons. One, these engines are made by CFM, and Delta Ops which is Delta's maintenance
Sure,
department.
sure,
Yeah.
sure.
They're like the largest CFM repair shop in America.
Nice.
Oh.
They know this engine back and forth and sideways, and they run by hours. So, like, you know how every 1,000 hours we get a APU oil change,
right.
and they'll do that, and then at like every so many hours, call it 10,000. Even though the jet's working just fine,
Yeah.
they pull the engine down, they slap a new one on, and they take that engine and they completely tear it all the way apart and put all new everything on
Right.
it, and then reassemble it.
Really?
Even though it's working just fine.
Sure.
Really?
Yes. That's why the failures are extremely rare.
Sure.
But again, even though they're extremely rare, when they do happen, you got two engines. So
Right.
if one goes, you're still fine. That
fine.
plane is still rated to where if one engine goes, they can still fly. They usually get you to an airport at that point.
Sure.
Sure. They don't make
because-
it the rest of the way.
Because once you lose your redundancy,
Yeah.
then you want to, for safety, get on the ground. But
right.
but it's still very safe to fly it the whole way
Sure.
down. So, no, I don't really get concerned about that. If anything, the past few years have taught us that age doesn't really make a difference. Again, the A220, which you're flying,
Right.
they figured the issue out, so don't worry about this. But when they first
Thanks.
came out, they kept having engines fail on them, and they found out that Swiss Airlines was the first one. They had over in Europe, they were using them, and they were having these issues. They found out that because the type of engine is, if you go full power every single time you take off,
Right.
you burn up the engine, and so they just use a derated takeoff. So if you have enough runway,
Right.
they will only use as much power as needed to be able to take off, and they haven't had the issue since. Same with the Boeing 737 MAX. I mean, that was a brand new
plane.
wonderful plane,
Yeah.
and you had two crashes really quick as soon as they were released. So, I mean, age of the plane doesn't necessarily correlate to
What's going to happen?
what's going to happen. The thing that also keeps me in mind is that pilot, co-pilot, all the flight attendants get on that plane every day knowing I'm going home tonight.
Right.
And
Yeah.
they're not going to do anything to jeopardize that.
Sure.
Delta knows that if one plane crashes, it's going to cost them potentially now billions of dollars, and it used to be millions, but now we're talking billions for lawsuits, and it's going to damage their reputation, which is going to cost them even more billions.
Right.
So they would
The
rather
long-term.
exactly they would rather cancel a flight and hack off a couple hundred people than they would fly the flight
Right.
and hope for the best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
And they don't want to fly the flight and cause harm to anyone either.
No,
You know, besides the financial risk, they don't want to cause harm to anyone either.
correct. Yeah,
So
and that's
it's funny how this correlates to our trucks,
I was going to say the same
right?
thing.
I mean, we do 100,000-mile overhead on the trucks.
Yeah.
Right. And that's if the truck is running just fine.
we still
At
do it.
100,000 miles, it comes in for an overhead.
Yeah,
We do our 50,000-mile PMs on the truck. Again, truck's running fine. We still do our PMs. And then the other thing is you mentioned age doesn't matter. People want to get a brand new truck. I want a brand new truck. I want a brand new truck. Well, if you get a brand new truck and it's a stock factory sleeper, it's going to have problems from the factory, period. If you get a brand new truck and it's a custom sleeper like ours are, there are going to be issues with that truck. Not saying it's going to break down on you right away, but there are going to be issues on the truck that you got to just kind of shake out and figure out. And we spend how much time when those trucks come to us, brand stinking new, from the dealership, how much time do we spend on those trucks making sure everything is working properly? That tractor went back to Freightliner 3 times
Yeah.
before it was ready to go.
Yeah.
You know, and no fault of the dealership. It's just as we worked it through the different shops we had to work it through, we found things that were issues with it that we wanted to have addressed before the team took it out. So same thing, you know, with those brand new trucks.
and even still,
Yeah.
a few days after the team moved in, they had a good refrigerator.
The refrigerator was
went out.
not working. Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
we had a team this past weekend or maybe a couple weekends ago that their APU just randomly quit working. It worked the whole time we were getting it ready. The past few weeks, it's worked the whole time.
It worked the morning they got
It
into
worked
the
the morning
truck
they got in the
as they were
truck.
getting in the truck.
They were showed how to turn it on, how to turn it
Yeah.
off, all that stuff. Everything worked great on it. Get to the truck stop, boom, there's a problem.
Doesn't work.
We went back and looked at the history because sometimes you do find like, oh yeah, we saw where this was an issue before and we had to fix
Sure.
it and maybe they didn't get it right, so let's do the next step. This thing had been to an APU shop before, but it was for an unrelated issue. The issue before was they weren't charging the batteries and it was just like a belt for the alternator. That's all it was. Completely unrelated to now it would fire up, run for 5 seconds, turn itself off. Like, so it has no history of this ever happening. It worked 100% for us. They were even shown how good it works,
Right.
and they get to the truck stop and boom, they have the issue. Like, it is super frustrating.
It's very
Yeah, it
frustrating.
is.
Extremely frustrating, especially from my point of view where Mel and I are introducing these teams to these trucks that they're getting into, and they get out there and a few hours later have these problems.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating. We want to take care of that so we don't have those problems. And there was nothing we could have done about this problem. Doesn't mean we don't look bad and we don't feel bad for this team that's out there
100%.
now at a truck stop and they need their APU.
Well, and two, I will say the benefit that people don't think about is like, yes, this happened and it stinks. It's definitely less than ideal. But the other items y'all took care of before that
Sure.
kept us from being a get in your truck and then spend the next 2 or 3 days here
Right.
getting everything fixed
Yeah.
to a get here and spend an hour in the shop and you're on your way again.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge thing that
Right.
people miss is like trucks run great and they break down. And sometimes when they break down, it's minor. Sometimes when they break down, it's major. And that's all trucks ever from anybody ever. There is no magic bullet on that one.
None.
People that have been in this business a long time. That's funny. You talk about new trucks, old trucks. The people that have been in the business the longest are usually the ones that don't really mind an old truck.
Right.
It's the people that are pretty new that want that new truck.
Want
They
that
want
brand
that
new truck.
shiny, everything.
Right.
So it is funny to see that on my side
Yeah.
of who's requesting new trucks, where we give. And I've had teams, we've had like brand new trucks with bathrooms that are like very nice. And we call a team, hey, y'all doing great. We'd love to get you in this truck to kind of reward you. And they go back and say like,
No, thank
well,
you.
I don't want it. This one's running great. I don't want to. I don't want to take
Exactly.
that chance.
Yeah.
And so,
Exactly.
and we've also had teams like when Kelly and Jimmy got out of their truck, the same team, or not the same team, sorry, another team got into their old truck
Mm-hmm.
and wanted their old truck versus getting a brand new truck because they knew that Kelly and Jimmy had already worked all the bugs out.
Well, we had that situation as well.
Yes, you did.
Where we went from Nala,
Yes. Our second truck.
our second truck, to the Luke Shire Lodge,
Yes.
and we were given the option. We got the Luke Shire Lodge. It wasn't called that then, or we had this brand new truck that we actually had gone and picked out the fabrics for.
Yeah, we picked out all the
Yeah.
colors
Right.
on that one.
And it was like, well, this other truck's come available now. Take your pick. And it was, I'd much rather have the truck that has
120, I think, on it.
something thousand miles on
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
because the bugs have been worked out. We know the history on it. We'll take that one versus the brand new truck.
Yeah.
We did. That's what
We
we
did.
did.
We made that choice because we didn't want to have to go through. So when we got the brand new truck, we had a punch list of how many items that we had to get taken care of on that truck,
Yeah.
and we rolled with it. It wasn't, a
None
big
of them need to
surprise.
be
We
right
weren't
away.
angry. It was nothing that had to be. We could go out that day and run and make money.
Until.
But as we got to the shops we needed to get to, we got that stuff taken
Yeah.
care of, right? So yeah, it's one of those things where you have
We had an air leak from day one.
You want a brand new truck.
Yeah.
Do you know what comes along with that?
Yeah.
And are you
Right.
prepared to take care of those things? And it may not happen right now. You may not get a punch list. It may happen 3 months down the road
Yeah.
to a brand new truck.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I remember when I picked up, and this is terrible. It sounds like we're talking about horror stories. But I remember when I picked up Jerry's bathroom truck.
Yep.
And brand new truck. I picked up on my birthday.
happy birthday, by the way. For back then.
Yeah, it was
Belated. For, I don't know.
3 years ago.
3 years ago. Yeah.
And I picked it up, and one of the things you have to do with FedEx is they want you to do a test they call PQ test, and you basically put these probes in your back of your truck, you fire the reefer on, you drive around, and it has to be on so long for it to just make sure that everything's fine, right?
Right.
And we do it on brand new trucks. And so I did that. I got everything set up and decided, all right, I'm going to take it on the loop and burn a couple hours running the loop and what have you. And I made it a quarter of the way around to where the Loves was, and my
Yeah.
check engine light came on. I'm like, oh, this is not good. So held the button, got over to the truck stop at the Loves, pulled in the fuel bay, jump out, and I'm completely out of coolant. And I'm like, that's not good.
No.
So I ran inside, I bought a couple gallons of coolant, and I poured them in, and as I was pouring them in, I could hear it hitting the
It'd come out.
concrete. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So I called the brand new truck. I literally picked it up that day. Called the dealership. They sent for a tow. They did everything right. They sent for a tow. They took care of it. It was great. But I ended up getting home at like 9 o'clock at night.
I believe it.
So birthday dinner with my family, out the door.
Yeah.
Like all these other things, out the door. And I'm like, well, what a horrible way for my birthday, right?
Yeah.
On a brand new truck that I never would have thought that had been
Right.
the issue. Like, okay, you get a brand new truck, you get a latch that doesn't work, or
Sure.
you
Yeah.
get little things like
So
that.
was it a hose?
Yeah, it was a hose that had just had a rupture in it, and they just replaced the hose, and we're good to go again. But
So
it's
somebody
like,
wasn't managing their hose properly.
correct. No, they let them get a little loose, and they
Right.
end up getting cut. So, yeah,
It happens.
It happens.
It happens.
So yeah. So that was, and of course it's like, this happening to Jerry, who's one of my best friends. It's
course.
his truck. I'm like,
Yeah.
one of these days, something like this is going to happen on your birthday, and you will understand my pain.
Yes.
And it did.
Really?
It wasn't my birthday, but my flat tire on my car happened on Don's birthday.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was just
screwed it
happened
all
too.
up.
Yeah, I
so
get what
all
you're
of our
saying.
plans went out the window.
full-
So when you
full
said,
circle.
Patrick, you got to pick the brand new truck up and you did the PQ test, you're running around the loop. By loop, do you mean the outer belt?
I do mean the outer belt.
Okay, that just for clarity's sake, I was wondering if that was the same
Yes.
outer belt as
That is the same outer
Okay.
belt. That is, as I refer to it as, it's the outer
the
belt.
outer belt. Right
Yes.
on. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I took a hunter safety course when I was 13.
Oh, good for you.
And
The pause
The-
just seemed really long there.
it's kind of like,
the biggest takeaway, even here at age 47, 48, that I ever got from it was mechanical device can and will fail.
Sure.
yes.
And anything, right? So if people come out here and think that they're going to run a truck and it's never going to break down, boy, they just have the wrong expectations.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, for as much work as Vincent and Mel Lee and put into, and yourself and all the shops put into making a truck leave the yard from day one with a brand new team, things happen because, again, it's a mechanical device. And you just can't foresee that future. So it's unfortunate what happened to that team, but it's just you can't foresee, right?
And to your point, we don't know what's going to happen. We've
We
had
don't.
teams get a truck and they have 6 months of worry-free service.
Sure.
Yeah,
And it's like, wow, we got the best truck ever. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this broke.
yeah.
Why this break?
Yeah.
You know? And then that thing that broke may have taken out 2 things. And so now it's like, all right, we got to get you to 2 different shops. And so, yeah, I think the thing to remember too is when we're talking about the lifestyle, when you see all the different YouTube channels and you read all the articles and you see everybody talk about the money you can make, the lifestyle you'll experience, the freedom you get,
Right.
none of that goes away because your truck breaks down. It's a frustrating point,
Right.
but we are all talking from the understanding of that's going to happen.
Sure.
Right.
You're not, because your truck broke down, you're not making less money over the course of the year that we're talking about because
Right.
all of us are talking, including those things into it, you
Right.
know?
Yeah. Well, and you make the best of a bad situation.
Absolutely.
Melissa and I broke down in December of, I don't know, a couple of years ago. And we got the truck back here to the dealership here in Columbus, and we were going to be down for a month.
Yeah.
Then December. So we went on vacation.
Yeah.
We plan our vacation, we book it, we get everything paid for, and the truck's ready.
Yeah.
Literally the next day, they call and say, "Oh, your truck's ready.
After
Come
we
get
booked
it."
everything, we're like,
Yep.
oh,
So
well.
we went and got our truck and we parked it and went on vacation.
Yeah.
But you know what happened in Dixon too, right?
It did
I mean,
happen in
not
Dixon.
that way, but you made the best of it, right?
Yes,
we
exactly.
were in Dixon, Tennessee, and
Yep.
it was the first time we ever had to be towed off. Were we on the side of the road?
No, we made it to the
No,
truck
we made
stop
it to
there.
the truck stop. So, but it was the first time we had to be towed. But
And only time.
it was a holiday weekend,
Mhm.
and we were going to be shut down for quite a long time. 4 days at least.
Yeah.
And you roll with it. You're in Nashville because you had
Yeah.
to be towed back to Nashville at that point in time.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you do on a holiday weekend? Well, you make the most
Yeah.
of it. I don't know that we went downtown, but the neighborhood that we stayed in, we went and explored and had a good. It was the
We
the
didn't.
restaurant in the hotel.
We actually got towed on Thursday. They were ready. The truck was ready on Friday. We didn't have anything. We got a load off like Friday afternoon that picked up on Sunday before a holiday Monday.
That's what it was.
Yeah, and delivered to a automotive plant that opened their first shift, or their third shift started Monday evening. So it actually worked out really well for us. But we got lucky on that
But
one.
you still made the
again,
best
we
of
made
it,
the best
right?
of it.
You make
We
the
made
best of it. It just
yeah.
is what happens. So
I've always said in expediting, get the money while it's on the table
Oh yeah,
and plan for those downtimes
Yeah.
because you're going to have them.
you're gonna have.
You're going to have those moments where you're just like, wow, like I can't believe this is happening. And you need to have that bank. You need to be ready
Yep.
because you're going to be an independent contractor.
Yep.
You're
Yeah.
going to have that time where you're not having that income.
You
So
truly
need to
are.
prepare.
You truly are.
So I think the thing too with kind of like you're talking about making the best of it. I used to call them breakdowncations.
oh, I like that idea.
So and it's funny. I was just talking to
Breakdowncations.
I was just talking to someone on Facebook. They were on the Canadian side of the Niagara Falls.
Ooh.
Yep. They don't drive for us, but they're just friends.
Yeah.
And they, showed off all the pictures of seeing all that. And so I liked it, and I shared our experience, which was we broke down in Buffalo, and it was one of those repairs that we knew was going to be several days. So we stayed at the cheapest hotel we could find. It was $29 a night kind of hotel.
Wow.
And it was actually nice. I wish I could remember what it was. But we rented a car and drove out to Niagara, and so we
Nice.
got to see it from we saw it from the American side. We didn't see
Right.
it from the Canadian side, and they were like, "Oh, you got to see it from the Canadian side. It's a very different experience." But like that's that example of
Yeah.
like making the best of it. We broke down in nope, that's not right.
Amarillo.
Nope, not Amarillo. We did break down in Amarillo, but that was a real quick breakdown, and we didn't leave the truck. The other one was Albuquerque.
Oh.
And-
Ooh, New Mexico.
Yep, and so
Wow.
we got towed into the Caterpillar dealership back when we had cat engines.
Right.
All these breakdowns I'm mentioning were because of the cat engine, which is why we don't buy Caterpillars anymore. And we ended up staying at the hotel. They came pick us up from the dealership in Old Town Albuquerque, which is like a neat little old village. I mean, it's 100-something years old, and
That's
it's
cool.
all that Spanish mission style terracotta,
Right, yeah.
everything, and
Right.
had a great time. I went and had breakfast at a really nice place. Eric got a coffee that was in a coffee cup like that big around.
Wow.
It had all
Wow.
the fancy like
All the
foam
latte art.
working, latte art on it and everything.
Wow.
And on top of it being delicious.
Nice.
And just had a great time of just making the best of hanging out. The place it was in the middle of winter, but the place had a indoor
Pool.
and I somehow I guess I looked it up and I knew that prior, so I grabbed a bathing suit just in case.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it was heated, and because we're in the middle of winter, that's their off season, so there wasn't anybody there, so we got the whole indoor
Oh,
pool to
nice.
ourselves
We've
It-
done
for
one
a
of
couple
those
hours
before.
and just like just
Friendly.
had a blast. And
Indoor-
then sorry.
Indoor pools are great. And for me, I have no problem with them. But for you folks, you might have a problem because you can't get a tan in there.
I can't get a tan in an outdoor pool, so that's
Oh,
not a problem
there you
either.
go. Okay. Gotcha.
But yes, same thing happened in San Antonio. We broke down again. Caterpillar, we don't buy those anymore. We don't have any in the fleet either. We ended up going into the Riverwalk, and we spent a couple days at the Riverwalk.
Nice.
And the Caterpillar in San Antonio, Holt, by far the best Caterpillar dealership. Period. They actually got us completely fixed, and we didn't have another problem with that truck for like a year. Like
Wow.
Awesome.
they were a great shop. So if you have a Caterpillar truck, San Antonio, excellent shop. Yeah, it's just making the best of what downtime
is.
you
It's what it's
have. I mean,
about.
we've been to outside of on the 5, going north. You get to, is it Gilroy?
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's is that where the big dam is? And there's a TA there.
You're thinking Santanella.
Okay, Santanella.
Yes. Gilroy is just west of there.
Okay, so we ended up staying in Santanella one weekend, and knew we had a load that picked up on Monday, and we were there on Thursday. So we parked the truck, went into Santanella, got a rental car, and drove up that road by the dam. I think we went through Gilroy, right?
Right,
On our way
exactly,
to spent
yep.
the weekend in San Francisco,
Nice.
and then came back, and we were back on the road and picked up our load on Monday. So now that wasn't a breakdown, but still just making the best of
your time.
your time
Your
on the
time.
weekend and having those adventures when the adventures can be had. And a breakdown's inconvenient, but when it does, make the best of it. I
Yeah.
mean, we have a lot of teams that just spend their whole time in the hotel if they can't be in their truck, and that's all they do, and they don't do anything else, and that's what they want to do. But I like that adventure side of being
I
able to
do
go out and
too.
do things and see new cities that I maybe wouldn't normally see.
Sure.
Like Buffalo, for example, where we were running, that was a city that you got in, got a load, and got right out. There was no sitting around and hanging out. That just didn't occur.
Right.
Gave us the opportunity to sit there and enjoy the city that normally we wouldn't have. We'd have just buzzed on through.
Good deal.
So
I miss that a little bit, I'll be honest.
yeah,
A little, like you said.
it's a twinge.
earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
miss
still
it a little bit.
It still is. I've been off the road since 2017, and it's still that piece of like, wow, if I want to go to Vegas, it's not just wait a couple weeks because we'll be there.
No.
It's
Right.
spend $1,000 on a
Yeah.
flight,
Sure.
and then a couple $100 on hotels,
Right.
and then come back. It's like, and then I'm missing work, and it's a pain. Whereas before it was like, oh yeah, we will be in Vegas at some point this month. I don't know when, but we will. So
Right.
that's the kind of thing that's like
Or Reno.
our Reno. Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
miss it, Jerry? little?
Occasionally, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've enjoyed being at home. I mean, we're newer.
Sure.
You
being
are.
at home
Yeah.
recently, but after 14 years of over the road life,
Oh yeah, it's a huge adjustment for you.
huge. But
Yeah.
I do miss that ability to just go to different places and do things and see stuff.
Sure.
I do.
Have you been to Hollywood yet?
Here in Columbus, yes,
Mm-hmm.
I have.
Nice.
Did you have a
I
good-
literally was thinking like Man's Chinese Theater.
Yeah,
Like, what are you
right.
talking
Oh,
about?
the
The Hollywood sign.
The
Oh.
Hollywood sign, the Hollywood
Did you
Bowl.
go to
for
Scioto
concert.
The
yet?
Walk of Fame.
No,
Have you
Walk of
compared
Shame.
the two?
I have not.
Okay.
Don't
No.
bother.
Just stay at Hollywood.
Don't bother.
However, Scioto's upgrading some things, so maybe we need to give it another try.
well, but they just said no more trucks, so I
Yeah,
don't-
so
I
we're
have a-
boycotting them.
yeah, we're boycotting
Oh,
them
I see.
in
Okay.
solidarity.
Yeah,
Okay.
solidarity.
Solidarity.
Whatever that
Solidarity.
is.
This has been so much fun, Melissa. I just thank you for being on the show and
Oh,
hanging
thank
out with
you.
us. I know you're always on the show; you're just never on the show. So you're always here with us, not in spirit. I mean, literally, she's like right there.
Yep.
But we have to talk about what's coming up. So we have some things coming up this week, are coming up that we're really excited about on June 10th.
Wow.
June 10th.
June 10th.
That sounds like
we
half a year gone by.
we have our next live, and the past few lives, I should say, they've been so much fun. We enjoy
have,
interacting with
yeah.
y'all. That's going to be at 6 p.m. Eastern, June 10th, which is going to be 5 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Mountain Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Time,
Specific?
and Chili will tell you what the Hawaiian time is.
1 p.m. Hawaiian time.
There you go. So we're not fact checking that. So if you want to come hang out with us, we would love to spend time with y'all. These are always a fun thing for us. They make us stretch our muscles and be able to do things
Sure.
quickly and on the fly.
Yep.
It's a lot of fun to be able to interact with our fellow Hyfield family.
I think Jerry likes the lives too.
He does. He gets
He's
to do
not
all that.
editing all the crap
I
out
know.
that we go
he-
through.
Right. And he gets to like do his fancy cuts and everything
Right,
live. and,
exactly.
you know.
Yeah.
I get it. I love
a good time.
Yeah, yeah. So we would love to see you then. And of course, in just a few weeks, we've got Expedite Expo coming up. That's at the
Yes.
Allen County War Memorial Coliseum.
Yes, good job.
That is in Fort Wayne, Indiana. That is going to be July 21st and 22nd of 2023. We're going to be there. We're going to have a booth. We're going to be sponsoring it. You're going to see all your favorite YouTube channels there as well. We're going to have Lookshire Expediting Adventure, Expedite Chicks, Expediter Boogie, Outer Belt Podcast.
Yeah.
Obviously, will
The
be
Real
there.
Trucker
The
Couple.
Real Trucker Couple will be there. We're going to have, I believe, Truck and Travel and Nick and Carla are going to be there. We're not sure yet, but we're hoping. And we would love to see you. We're going to have all of our Hyfield staff there. You're going to meet a bunch of mentors. You're going to have a great time to, if you are interested in driving for us or driving with Hyfield or our FedEx or Panther, lots of opportunity to talk to people there about
Lots.
that.
Yeah.
If you want to find out what our mentor program is about, you'll be able to talk to people there at the show for it. If you want to buy your own truck, there's going to be truck salespeople there. It's a really great show. They have breakout sessions where you'll be able to listen to people talk about the industry, right? So there'll be Jackie and Mike from Millennials in Trucking. They're going to be talking about millennials in trucking. You're going to see
what it looks like for a millennial, someone who's younger, to
be in
In trucking?
trucking and
from the
perspective
Of a millennial?
a
fleet owner,
Oh,
yeah.
a
Yes.
millennial fleet
fleet
owner.
Correct.
got it.
Yeah.
And we're also going to have, I mean, there's just a ton of breakouts.
Ton of breakouts.
Ton of breakout
Ton of
shows.
breakouts.
Go to expediteexpo.com and look up the breakout sessions. See which ones you want to go to. They have them on both Friday morning and Saturday morning. Friday night is going to be the much acclaimed, everybody raves about it. It's the
Everybody.
highlight of the show, must attend event, Casino night. That's right. So we are sponsoring Casino Night again this year and the after party, and they're bringing in all these tables of casino games. So you'll have roulette, craps tables,
Blackjack.
poker, blackjack, other stuff that I
Other
don't
stuff as
know.
well.
They bring the dealers in. Everybody gets $1,000.
Woo!
$1,000.
If I had $1,000, I'd be rich. No,
would be. But it's Monopoly money.
it is Monopoly money. So everybody gets $1,000 Monopoly money. You go, you play, you have fun. They're going to give it door prizes all night long.
All
We're
night
going to have
long.
some great music playing around. It is open cash bar. Not open bar. It's cash bar.
Cash bar.
It's cash bar.
I think you can be only one or the other.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
you
this
can't
one's
beat open
cash.
cash.
Okay.
It's cash.
Cash
It's
bar.
cash bar, and it's a lot of fun. Come hang out, play some craps with me. Maybe have a scotch. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Are they gonna have scotch?
Maybe.
Probably not.
Maybe play some roulette
They
with
have
me.
some scotch tape.
Maybe play the slot machines with Jerry.
They don't have slot machines. That's the
Oh.
thing. I know.
Jerry
it's
gets a
terrible.
night off.
If you don't care anything about gambling,
Yeah.
that's fine. They have a bunch of people hanging out.
Bunch of folks.
At the same place. They have a bunch of tables and
They have
use-
music, don't they?
we have music every time. We also, I think we were talking about bringing out the what's it called?
Twister.
Twister. We were going to do the oil. No,
Different night.
We're doing the why can't I think of it? Cornhole. We're gonna have
Cornhole,
cornhole.
okay.
We're
All
probably
right.
going to bring out some giant Jenga. There'll be some other stuff to do. People to hang out with, chat. It's a big socializing event. Everybody.
Huge.
It usually gets quite the
Quite the
fanfare,
crowd. Quite the
crowd.
gathering.
What's the cost?
The cost of that's like $100 a person. No, it's
No, take the one off.
so it's zero
$0 a person.
It's free.
It's free.
Really?
Yes. Expedite Expo is free to
I can go to
register.
casino night for free.
Casino night is free.
Well,
it's
who's paying
included
for
in
it?
the 00. Well, casino night is being paid for by Hyfield Trucking.
Oh, okay.
The rest of the expo has various other
It does.
sponsors, and you can find them on the website. However,
Yes.
casino night and the after party are sponsored by Hyfield Trucking.
Yeah, and there'll be other vendors will be giving out gifts and stuff,
Sure.
door prizes as well.
Certainly.
It's really supported quite widely by the industry. It's one of those nights that everybody kind of knows it's fun. You'll see all the people you'll be talking to during the day. They're going to be there cutting loose too.
Yes, they will.
And I always say, if you're trying to like network and get to know people, these are the places where you get to network.
Yes, this is the place to be.
The talking around the office table is important. The talking around the craps table is more important.
More important.
I'll
I tell you what, I'm bringing my resume with me.
You shouldn't.
Oh, I shouldn't have said that on this podcast. Huh? I should have waited till ours to do that.
That's up to you.
Anyways.
But
So the whole
anyway,
weekend's free.
talk
The whole
Except for
weekend's
what?
the whole weekend's
Anything?
free except for parking.
Okay.
Parking is $1 million.
Oh,
They're kind
that's
of
how they're
steep.
making their
I
money.
They're
say
kinda
Uber
steep.
in. No,
Yeah.
it's $16 a day.
Yeah, well, it's $1 million, but if you mention Hyfield Trucking, they knock it down to $16.
That's awfully kind of
yeah,
them.
it is nice of them. Yeah.
That's quite
Uh,
a discount.
It is.
Well,
So,
we have that kind of power.
I see.
yeah. Anyways, so it's $16 a day. If
Not really.
but what's the deal with $16 a day? There's a
If
secret.
you pull in on Friday
Yes.
and you pay your $16,
Go on.
and you stay Friday night,
Uh-huh.
and you stay Saturday
Yeah.
because the show ends Saturday afternoon,
It
Okay.
does.
and you don't want to pull out until Sunday,
Yes.
Uh-huh.
then you will
That's-
only pay the $16 once.
That's 48.
No,
What are we adding up here? Who's
No.
doing
No.
their math?
it would be 32. However, if
Friday,
you
Saturday.
Minus
pull in
1, carry the 4,
on
divided
Friday,
by 25.
Yes.
and you don't leave until Sunday, they will charge you the $16 once.
I see
Really?
what you're
They
saying.
will not come around and say, hey, it's now Saturday going into Sunday, you have to pay us again.
I get it.
So you're only paying for one night if you come in on Friday and stay till Sunday.
Now that's fact or an assumption?
That is a fact from the Expedite Expo website.
I have a
Love
question.
it.
They will only charge you the one time for one entry. If you go in and out, they will charge you again every single
Yes.
time you leave and come back.
Yes.
What if I don't have a porta potty on my truck?
They actually have porta potties there in the parking lot for you.
Not
to use.
porta potties?
No,
they
I'm
have porta-
sorry. They have portalettes or porta johns.
Porta John.
Blue
I guess it
rooms,
is
honey pots.
blue rooms, whatever you want to call them.
They have those on the
Outhouses.
parking area for
Yes.
you for your comfort.
Okay,
Yes,
thank
and
you.
they're air conditioned, I'm assuming.
By the air that blows across the vent on the top of them.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I just wanted to know what my options were if I did stay the night, if I need to
You
use
do
the
have
potty.
facilities to use there outside,
Absolutely.
and they keep them clean.
And I
They
think
do.
it's of note to say that most there will be a bunch of trucks
A
doing
bunch
this.
of trucks out
Most
there.
people do that.
Yeah.
There's really no need to get a hotel if you're in a
No.
truck.
You have
your own
It's,
truck. Stay in your truck.
don't worry
save
about the
money.
AP running. It's just you walk
Yeah.
out there and it's just a nice warm hum of
APUs.
50, 60, 80, 100
Right.
APUs just humming in the
Humming
night.
along.
So don't worry about that. But it's a lot of fun. On Saturday night, we're going to have a parking lot party, weather permitting.
Yes.
Indiana in summertime is kind of iffy with weather. So if we can, we will. If we can't, we won't. But
Simple
we're
enough.
going to plan for it. If it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, that will be sad. But regardless, it'll still be a lot of fun.
I'm so excited. That's coming up here
I'm
real
so
soon.
excited.
It's coming up. It's
too.
just around the corner.
Just
Just
around the
around the
corner.
river bend.
Just around the river bend.
That's the one. So, yeah, that's really the couple things we have coming up. Hyfield at Sea, Royal Caribbean, Wonder of the Seas, December 30th through January 7th. If you're interested in going, hanging out with a bunch of Hyfield family on a cruise ship in the middle of
The Caribbean.
the Caribbean, sign up for it. If you want more details about it, reach out to us. You can reach out to us. How, Jerry?
I wasn't ready.
ABR.
hyfieldtrucking.com. We have a live chat feature on there where you can chat with Melissa Delina whenever she's on there, and me.
And
Wow.
Buttermilk.
Now,
That's
can
what
you
I
can you
said.
make requests on that chat? Or is it just like
What kind of
like
requests?
can I just
That's
write
what I
on
was
there
about
like
to
be
say.
like I only want to talk to Melissa.
No, it's pretty much whoever's on there at that time, who you get.
All right.
But hyfieldtrucking.com, yes, check it out. It has all the information about Hyfield. If you're interested in joining us, that is the first place to go. But you can also reach out to us at theouterbeltpodcast@gmail.com if you want to shoot us over an email. You can see us on Facebook at The Outer Belt Podcast, Instagram, _Outer Belt Podcast, Hyfield Trucking on Instagram as well as Facebook. There is many avenues to get in touch with us. Reach out to us. We're always eager to talk to you.
Absolutely, and that's not only for Hyfield at Sea, like we said. That's also if you're interested in getting in this line of business that we're in. If you want to operate a truck and go run for FedEx Custom Critical or Panther Premium Logistics, and you have a teammate, maybe your husband, wife, or brothers or sisters, or whatever combination you can possibly think of, we work with everybody. It is it's a great industry to be in, and we think we're a really good company in that space.
We do.
I will say, too, if you haven't had a chance to yet, if you're watching us on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe to it if you're not already following us, and hit that little bell right there. They're going to remind you when we have a video drop, which is every Saturday. Our lives, when we do them once a month, are at 6 p.m., but then throughout the what time do they normally drop if they're not alive?
Just 8 o'clock. I've seen them at 8 o'clock in the morning on
8
Saturdays.
o'clock every Saturday morning
8
on
Eastern.
YouTube. Eastern on YouTube, as well as your favorite podcasting app.
Yes,
Yes.
if you're watching us on YouTube and you want to have a way of listening to us when you're driving down the road, or can't watch, you just want to listen, we are available on your favorite podcasting apps as well. So the Outer Belt Podcast and your favorite podcast apps is a good place to find us, so you can just listen to us as well.
Absolutely. And if you're on one of those podcasting apps, they usually don't really do a great job of leaving comments, but they do allow you to leave a review.
Yes.
If you wouldn't mind, at a bare minimum, give us a little 5-star rating. We'd love that.
We appreciate it.
It'll push us a little higher in the algorithm, so other people will then be able to find us. And if you leave us a comment, it's even better. It's like giving us a mushroom on Super Mario Brothers. We just really, the algorithm loves that stuff. So we certainly do appreciate the support you have shown us. We love our Hyfield community. We love the Expedite community space. And we just really appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Melissa, thank you again
Oh, thank
Yes,
you.
thank
for
you.
spending time with us tonight, but also thank you for being one of our behind the scenes people. You really do help us dramatically with this podcast we are doing.
I'm wearing the cheerleading outfit next week.
Oh, awesome.
I like it.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, bummer. I was hoping for the cheerleader outfit next week.
Well,
I believe in what you got going here. Keep it happening and keep being funny.
we will, well, I don't know about that, but we'll try to continue pressing on. In the meantime, thank you everybody for watching. Please be safe and make good decisions.
And don't leave money on the table.
And keep those wheels a turning.
Good night.